Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make these little fossil things that we've made with the campers in the past. Sometimes we do them just to make a floral design, and sometimes we call them fossils because sometimes we use them when we're talking about dinosaurs and rocks and minerals. So you start out with a pretty good size lump of clay, and the more you work it, the softer it's going to be. That's really important. So I'm going to try to make mine into a circle as best I can. When it cracks, you just seal it up. I'll get it. It was pretty good. This is okay. We're going to fix that. There we go. But we're going to roll it out flat. Got these little rollers, and you put it on a paper plate so it doesn't mess up the table, and you get it pretty well flattened out. I'll show you if I can. I was going to lift it up. Might make a bigger mess. I'm not going to lift it. It's sticking to the plate a little, which is fine. I don't want to tear it up, but you get it pretty well flattened. All right, so it's pretty flat as a pancake. Now you take a styrofoam cup and you take the top off. I just ripped it, but you can use scissors. And the clay circle, you need to be able to have a complete piece in here with extras hanging out. That's the math. Because the piece inside is what's going to become this. This is going to be what's inside. So you put that down just to make sure it's big enough. Set it aside. Then you take whatever you're making an impression of. Today I brought some fern. And you can press seashells in. Let me roll that fern a little bit. You can roll it a little to really get a good impression. Oops. I messed up my seashell. I'll do it again. There you go. You're just making impressions with whatever you bring, whatever flowers. Ferns are nice. There we go. And I lift it up and you can barely see it, but there's an impression in the clay. So then you center this and make sure you see the impressions you made and press it down as best you can. And then use the outside clay to kind of seal the bottom because you don't want the plaster that we're about to mix up to come out. So you go around and just fold it up on it. Just press, press. There's a little gap right there. It might leak. So what I might do is take a piece from over there, seal it up. We're just making sure that plaster doesn't come out from underneath when we start filling this with plaster. All right, so I've got the edges pretty well sealed up. If you see a gap, just take a piece from somewhere else. Now we're going to mix the plaster. I typically just eyeball this, but you're going to take about a scoop of plaster in your cup. We're going to go over here to the sink. You should have some water with you, but here we are. I'm just going to put some water in it. And you want it a little bit thicker than pancake batter. Lovely. I didn't bring anything to stir with. I will stir with this and clean it later. So you stir it up. Have a popsicle stick or something. I'm going to have to clean this roller. All right, that feels really thin. So I'm going to put another scoop. See how watery it is? You want it pretty thick. There's probably a correct measurement to this, but oh yeah, that's better. If it's kind of hard to stir, you're getting there. See, it's clumpy. Try not to be clumpy. Get it as smooth as you can, but pretty thick. And you really can't, I guess you could mess this up, but the exact thickness and measurements don't matter too much because if it's too much water, it's just going to take a long time to dry. If it's not enough water, it's going to be too clumpy. So this is pretty good. So then I'm just going to pour it right in here. And again, the thicker it is, the longer it takes to dry. You'll see some of these have different thicknesses. It's just a matter of how much they poured. So you'll see one is much thicker than the other. Just a matter of how much they poured. So you leave that to dry. And when it dries, you will remove the clay and this, and you'll peel this plaster, this dried plaster up. You're looking at the bottom of it. You'll peel it up, and the impression of the fern and the shell will be in the plaster. At this point, if the edges are rough, you can kind of sand them down with a little sandpaper, because sometimes it'll leave a little rough edge, so you can sand it if you'd like. These can be painted with watercolor. You see the green is from when we tried to make these with Play-Doh. Play-Doh's a little too sticky. Clay is much better. But you can go back now with watercolor and paint these. Yeah, and they're good to go. They are fragile, so I would still tell the kids. I mean, they're breakable as a soft dish, but that's how you do it. It's a pretty simple process. We do have these garden bug rollers as well, if they want to add more textures. So you can look at those. You can see they are well loved. This one's like honeybee. There's spider web. There's some flowers. Looks like grass. More flowers. So they could use the rollers if they want as well, or just items from nature. But that's how we make the fossil plaster castings. Hope it helps.